Hey everybody, welcome to another World of Warships replay. This time we are in a Yamato of our very own. This is my first match in it, in the beta. I had already played it in alpha, and so I had to get readjusted to it. Started off on the south end of north, go figure, and as usual, I'm going to hang back a little while I wait for my team to figure out where the enemy are. Just look at this ship. Although it wasn't particularly effective in combat, in fact it was pretty much just a giant waste of steel, I've always thought that the Yamato is one of the nicest looking battleships ever built. There's just something about it. It's majestic. In fact, my first ever match in the Yamato, in the alpha, whoops, turn the HUD back on, was historically accurate. I shot at a cruiser and did a bit of damage and then got torpedoed and capsized and blew up. Thankfully this match was a little bit better, and so as one of the enemy Nagatos comes towards us, I put some shots out to try and see what I can hit, basically. He's quite far out, but I do manage to land a shell or two on him. Not for very much damage, but at least it's something. Now, the enemy Yamato is coming across as well, but if I can, I'd like to ignore him for now and deal with the smaller battleships. The reason for that being, I can always clean him up later. It looks like he's actually trying to keep out of the smaller battleship's gun range, which is good news for me because it means he'll also be at the edge of my gun range, and essentially I can just ignore him while I deal with everybody else. I do lose a turret there, but I'm able to get it back up. There's no torpedo bombers close enough for me to worry about using my repair crew so early. And at the moment they appear to be mostly harassing our destroyers. Some more shells out. You see our destroyers are creating a giant ball of smoke there in the middle of the map. My shots are a little far forwards, but I do land a pretty good hit there. As you can see, the enemy Yamato is now 22.7 kilometers away. Now, this thing's gun range is about 26 or 27 kilometers. So if he keeps going the way he's going, he actually will not be able to hit me. I decide to take a shot at Pensacola. He's moving fairly predictably, and if I can hit him, it's likely to do a shitload of damage and remove him from the game quickly. Unfortunately, I straddle him and the shells mostly either land short or go through his superstructure for pretty much no damage. Looks like our torpedo bombers are having a good time over there. The enemy Amagi just lost a huge chunk of his health to them. Decide to keep an eye on the situation over here. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to shoot at. The Amagi's in a turn currently, and so I might be able to get some good hits on him. Maybe. It looks like my shells are mostly going to land behind him, and sure enough, only a single hit, and not a very big one. Now, the enemy Yamato is actually crossing my gun range now, and it looks like the bulk of the enemy team are going to come in through the east side of the map. So rather than running off alone to the west as our western battleships are turning east, I decide I will hook around and run through the eastern channel with my teammates. There's a Sims running around the center of the map, but he's well outside of torpedo range, so I don't have to worry about him at the moment. I would like to take the Mogami out though, and I do actually land a couple of hits there. Now fire's starting to come in from my left side, but it's nothing to be too worried about. As you can see, I'm already pre-aiming my guns off to my left, to my port side, but it's going to take a while for that rear turret to get around. In the meantime, Mogami is carelessly driving out into the open. Not a good idea against this many battleships. And sure enough, he starts losing his health. It wasn't really a big hit. This thing can easily one-shot cruisers from full health, but to do that you need to actually aim in the right place. It looks like I just didn't catch him anywhere important. Aramagi puts some shots out, but they miss. I decide to hold on to my own for a minute. And you can see the enemy Yamato is actually coming back towards us now, but he's coming down the west side of the map, so if we stay to the east, again, we won't have to worry about him for a while. In fact, he begins turning and heading for the backfield of his own side of the map, probably planning on guarding the cap or something. There's an enemy cruiser out to the west, but it's just a lone cruiser. I'm not really interested. What I am interested in is finishing off this Amagi, as well as his little friends. We've got some torpedo bombers incoming. Now these guys are actually starting to get threatening, but the combined fire of our battleships is going to wreak havoc on them. At any rate, looks like they're going for the Amagi. And so while he deals with those bombers, I begin to shift my focus onto this Nagato. Now, I figured I was probably going to take a torpedo or two here, but in the Yamato you can afford to take a torpedo or two. It's not really something that matters too much. You've got plenty of hit points to play with. Get some decent hits on the Nagato and knock out one of his gun turrets. And oh god, these torpedoes are going to be a problem. Thankfully, I've still got most of my hit points, although I've used my repair crew a couple times. And so I turn to try and avoid the torps, but they run out of range before they get to us. Crisis averted. Sims behind me, it's probably going to get dealt with by the Amagi or our own destroyer, and so I shift my attention back to this Mogami that we took a shot at earlier. And he is oh so very lucky. My shots fell just short. The Nagato is getting awful close to us. If he gets too close, he will actually be able to put some significant damage on us, and so attention goes back to him. He's also going to be giving me a brilliant shot straight down his front if he keeps this up. Some more torps coming, so I quickly fire off full broadside at him, and then turn to see where they're coming from. Thankfully, it's not a full spread, and I see the incoming bombers early enough to begin turning. I do take some pretty serious torpedo damage here and lose my steering and my engine. I hold off on my repair crew for now, just in case I take a hit from this bunch of torpedoes. I don't, and so I instantly mash R and get myself back into the fight. When you've got torpedo bombers coming at you like that, you have to really carefully time your use of your repair crew, because if you fuck it up and use them too early, another salvo of torpedoes might actually hit you, and that will be it. Use my repair crew again. Sorry. I should have been saying my damage control team. They're two different things, but you know what I mean. The enemy New Orleans is getting awful brave here. I don't know what he's hoping to achieve, but it's probably not going to end too well for him. My shots unfortunately fall long. But as he gets closer, aiming gets easier. And in fact, soon he'll be in range of my secondaries as well.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
He actually manages to damage one of our turrets, which temporarily takes it out of the fight, but he gets cleaned up by one of our teammates.
All stations, requesting fire on the designated target.
And now, how awesome does this look? Two Yamatos side by side, blazing down this channel. It's a lot of firepower.
Returning to ship.
Problem solved, sir.
We can see where the enemy carrier is. He's actually run himself aground on the backside of the island, which is slightly annoying because it means we have to go all the way around it to get shots at him, but on the plus side, it means he's not going anywhere in a hurry. The enemy cruiser is making best speed back towards the east. The Yamato is actually not spotted at the moment. Oh, now he is. And he's coming towards myself and my teammate here, probably hoping to intercept us. Now, you can see me kind of indecisively turning my turrets here. I think I forgot to lock them to one side while I was looking around me. Incoming torpedo bombers, but our combined AA drives them off, and they only get 2 torpedoes out. My teammate's going to take the hits. Only one actually connects. We got some more bombers coming, but the real big threat is that Yamato, who's still full health. Hopefully the combined firepower of 2 of the same will be able to clean him up before he can kill us.
All stations, requesting fire support.
Now, I look for shots on the Lexington first, just because it's the low-hanging fruit, and the Yamato is currently behind cover anyway. Unfortunately, my shots fall just astern, and so no damage on him yet. I keep my guns pre-aimed to the left, so I can clean him up in a hurry, and then switch over to the Yamato. I still have just enough space to swing out my my guns, or swing my ship to the right, so my guns will all be aimed at the Yamato, and so that's what I begin doing here. It's getting pretty close, 14.8 kilometers, and so I let out a full broadside as soon as all my turrets are aligned. My teammate only gets shots out of his front 2 turrets, but both of us land a couple hits. My teammate's hits obviously hit something important. The Lexington is just begging to be shot, so I line that up next. The Pensacola is not really a threat. We'll deal with that later. Some light fire coming in, probably from the Pensacola, and that's the end of the Lexington right there.
Enemy aircraft carrier destroyed.
Pensacola will soon be in range of my secondaries. He's already in range of my teammate's secondaries, and he's beached himself. He's done for. Teammate gets some decent hits in there, but because he's reversing, I know exactly where to put my shots to hit him in the engines. And although I nearly run myself aground in the process, boom, that actually hit his magazine, I think. He's now so low on health that the other Yamato's secondary should finish him off. And so it's just the enemy battleship left to deal with. Now I'm going to have to switch my guns over to the right side, which is going to take a while, and I'm going to lose a third of my firepower while doing it. Thankfully, because there's two of us here instead of just one, there's a much better chance of success, and we still have some decent firepower going out anyway. Teammate tells me to go first. I have more health than he does, and I land some pretty decent hits there. In fact, I destroy the enemy Yamato's rear turret. And if we look, he's also got a destroyed front turret. He's down to 3 guns. His number 1 turret is the only working main turret he has. At this point, it's pretty much a formality. There's very little chance of him sinking either of us before we can finish him off. And I get a pretty decent shot straight into him. Having since been in a situation where I've lost all but one of my turrets, I feel so bad for this guy. There's really just nothing you can do. When a turret's damaged, it takes about half a minute to come back up, but when it's destroyed, you've lost that info. And when you've lost 2 of your 3 main turrets, 6 of your 9 guns, it's just really not fun. And that's that.